is good, everybody? The Eagles, your Philadelphia Eagles, are Super Bowl champions. I'm pumped up. I don't know if these guys are because they these guys. They're from across the state. My man Will, my man Ed below me, not so happy. You know him. He's a Commanders fan, so this is probably really grinding his gears. But we don't care. No, kidding. Listen, I'm here with my man Ed.
No,
my
we
man
don't
Will,
care.
My man Trey. Listen, it's a good feeling. Your Super Bowl champions are your Philadelphia Eagles. This town's erupted already. The fireworks have gone off. People are running up and down the streets. It's total mayhem. But all for all the right reasons here in Philadelphia. Big play. And today, Jalen Hurts was not. Saquon Barkley was not an X factor. But Jalen Hurts did his job today. Did his job. He was, to me, the MVP, the Super Bowl MVP. He played like a playmaker. Ed, I'm going to give you the floor first because I think you have something you want to say about Jalen today.
I think Jalen played very well. He was poised. He was efficient. He only had one mistake. I think that the game plan was perfect. They knew they were going to shut down Barkley. They knew the game plan was to shut down Barkley. He took advantage of that. As soon as they got behind him, rushed ahead of him, he took advantage of it. I think he rushed for almost 80 yards, but very efficient. He did a great job. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. I was a little shocked that the Chiefs did not make any adjustments quicker. They really got thoroughly outcoached, thoroughly outplayed. They got out-muscled. They got out everything. It wasn't even close. It wasn't as close as the score, obviously, because they threw those junk touchdowns in at the end. But I was really happy, it meant a lot to me that Kenny Pickett got a ring. He was with this other team, and they couldn't coach him at all. And he gets this ring. It's this huge – it's like I don't even know how big it is. It's unbelievable.
It's bigger than him.
Right.
Yeah.
He at least fit on his 9-inch hands, right, Eddie?
His hands are not as big as 9. They're not as big as mine. Mine are about 9 and I don't even know, an 8. His are smaller. So, but no, I think Jalen did it. That was – he didn't have statistically a better game than the last Super Bowl, but he just owned the Chiefs. He just owned them. He did whatever he wanted. They never got close to him. I thought he was the difference maker in the game. He truly was. The defense was outstanding, obviously, but without having Hurts there, it would have been a much tougher game, even with the defense. And I believe, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he's now truly the first running quarterback who's won a Super Bowl. Because he is a big time runner. More so than everybody else. I think go back through the Super Bowl. I think he's the biggest one. Don't you think, Trace?
Yeah. Steve Young, maybe, right? Would be the one who would come to mind before him.
Would be his contemporary, or would be his
right. Softball, who ran a little bit, but that's stretching it, right? Randall Cunningham didn't win one, right? So that would have been their best runner they ever had here.
Yeah.
You know what? I know the Eagles don't have the luxury of you guys having 6 Super Bowl rings, but you know what? For the Eagles' history, I've gotten the opportunity to watch the Randall Cunninghams, the Donovan McNabb quarterbacks. But to me, and I've seen this last Super Bowl run, which it's
the Ty Detmers.
The Ty Detmers. Like, this is always going to be up for Batum. The ultimate 30 for 30 from the Nick Foles and / Carson Wentz run. But to me, when I look at Jalen Hurts, this will probably be the last time I wear this jersey because this is now his second time in the Super Bowl. He's won one, lost one. He's never been he's always been in the playoffs. This team and from like you guys, I watch you guys from front office on down. It is remarkable. You got Howard Roseman who constantly has his team in the runnings and he's on the next things. And you've seen Kelly Moore is going to probably going to get the head coaching job with the Saints. There's always moving parts, but again, he's like when this team moved on from Carson Wentz, everybody went crazy. Thought the front office lost their mind. And no, this was the best thing for him because Jalen worked on his mechanics after year one and has really progressed in every category. His ball security. He had 1 pick tonight. He had 2 TDs, over 200 yards throwing. He was really, really sufficient. And just kind of like Tom Brady was saying in the beginning of the game, what did he say best? He said, what the Eagles are going to try and do. They know that Kansas City had a game plan to shut down Saquon, but they didn't have a game plan for Jalen. They didn't have where Jalen was reading, the routes, the crossing routes from A.J. Brown, where he was reading, Dallas Goedert on the outside and open pockets. And then, of course, we all saw the big dime to Dallas, Devontae Smith in the end zone. So huge. So let's get some of these comments real fast. Robert saying, let's go Eagles. Joe Howe saying, what a game. Yeah, absolutely, Joe. Kyle chiming in, he says, can we get an Eagles? Can we get an EAGLS? Oh, absolutely. Brennan talked about himself. He did that for the most part. I mean, I thought he was kind of fair. Again, I thought it was the second half. Guys were trying to tell you how to get the the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. And the Eagles didn't take the foot off their throttle. I mean, listen, they know what kind of player Patrick Mahomes is, and they smacked him around a little bit, defense. So, Trace, I'll go to you. What stood out to you about this Eagles defense?
Oh, that right up the middle. I feel like Patrick Mahomes tried to sit in his pocket and they collapsed the middle. That is something that I wish our Steelers would get after, and they seem to fall short of that. Getting him up after the middle, they even stun it to bring that middle away. They would move him up in the pocket, and as soon as he stepped up, one of you guys on the interior were there, and I really think that's why it led to the amount of sacks he had and the frustration he had, which coupled with, I do think Jalen has progressed beautifully. He a game manager that can read the defense. He took everything that they offered him. I just thought he did this masterfully. Just congratulations to the Eagles fan base. You guys deserve it.
Yeah, and another thing too. I mean, again, to your point, Trace. Look what Jalen was able to do tonight. Just all the blitz packages that Kansas City had, and he just was really good. I mean, he took it, he saw the open field, and took advantage of it. Just took advantage of everything. And the defense, on the defense side, well, again, Vic Fangio was owned by Kansas City when Andy Reid took that job, but Patrick Mahomes had written all over his face. He never saw a defense like this before. He was never tested like this with this kind of defense and didn't have an answer. Like you said, Eddie, really till late in the game, it was garbage time by then, where the game really didn't matter. The game was already kind of put out of his misery.
They just did not do a good job in the quarter adjustment. I mean, if that happens one time to your quarterback, I mean, he did. Andy Reid did the tush push one time, and it dislocated his kneecap, and he never did it again. I would have let my quarterback get hit one time, then I would start rolling him out. When they rolled him out, at least he had more options. It was a moving target as opposed to a stationary target. They just got overwhelmed. They got simply overwhelmed, and they're losing. I mean, Kansas City's losing their tackle, 74. He's gone, so they're going to need a tackle immediately. So it's not the greatest stage for Kansas City. I don't think that. I don't think they're going to be odds-on favorite to get there from the AFC again.
No, I think, and Will, I'm going to go to you. Will, I mean, again, take me what you saw. I mean, and for Nick Sirianni, I mean, I know you're tired of the Mike Tomlins, but from a coaching perspective, what did you like from Nick Sirianni?
Oh, well, I tell you what, how about Kellen Moore? I mean, they took away Saquon Barkley on the ground, and they said, okay, that's fine. We're going to throw to him. We're going to throw to him. We're going to utilize him other ways. Jalen Hurts, like you were saying, there's crossing routes. He was hitting guys. Kellen Moore, I mean, I think he knew basically they were going to take away that ground game, and he was like, "Oh, they do that. We got something for him. We got something for him. We can still matriculate the football down the field." That's exactly what they did.
He also had a great quote. The difference between him and Tomlin is Tomlin thinks he can coach every position and every side of the ball, including special teams. They had a quote from Nick Sirianni who said, "I had to give up play calling because I could not manage the whole game and call plays at the same time."
He knows how to delegate. And that's what you have to do. You have to rely on your assistants and everything like that. And that's why he's going to have a coaching tree, and Mike Tomlin still doesn't have one.
He already has a coaching tree. He's got 2 head coaches. His 2 assistants are already 2 head coaches.
Right.
In Indianapolis and Arizona. I mean, he's been there.
That's why he's going to continue to have a coaching tree. So
I don't think he's enough, though, Bill.
Okay. All right. We'll play it back. Whatever.
Right.
If you want to argue about that, Ed, I don't know. It is what it is. Watching this, I got to say, being a Pittsburgh fan and covering Pittsburgh sports, it's kind of like watching your mother-in-law drive off a cliff. You got mixed emotions. Got mixed emotions. But no. I'm not a hater. I wanted the Eagles to win. I'm happy they won. Sirianni, he has some local connections here. He used to coach for IUP. He was a wide receivers coach for a while.
Yeah.
Like the guy, tons of emotion. I think he's a great head coach. For him to finally get one, I think it's great. Lots of emotion. Love Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is not only a good player, I think he's a great individual. I think that the franchise is run really well. I think Howie Roseman, from top to bottom, he's one of the best in the game. Period. He does every.
Yeah, and what I was going to say, here, hold on. Kyle says, I guaranteed you those plays, drawing flags in the previous games.
Yep.
He was in shock because he wasn't getting those referee protections for the first time in the playoffs. And look, he was, like I said, that, and then, he was rattled through the course of the game, like I said, and maybe Kyle's right. Maybe he was, there was that one flunky play early, the pass interference, call. But look, the Eagles were getting their fair share of the easy calls as well. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to be a homer about it. They got their fair share of the easy calls. But I want to go back to Nick Sirianni and kind of what Mike Barkhart was kind of talking about in the course of the game. Like, this was a guy who went to the Super Bowl 3 years back. Then last year, had an awful track record. We all know they won Tennessee after going 10-1. They blew it. And then he looked like this year after going 2-2 at the bye. People were ready to run him out of town. He shaved his head. Everybody thought he was on one trip to the wacko house, and then he goes on this run. And then Saquon Barkley has this breakout year, and it was hitting the grounds running. And it's all because there was a lack of no preseason, from the stars. But this team can show you, and just like they showed you in the Steelers game, they showed you here. They don't need, Saquon's a big chunk of the pie chart, but he can beat you aerial. And, whether he has A.J. Brown, he can find Devontae Smith or Dallas Goedert or Kateri. Like, he makes plays, and then he makes plays with his feet. So, throws it off his heel. And again, the first time in forever I saw him throw a pick tonight. So, again, very sufficient. And you got, like I said, you got to give that guy credit for what he's done. Just tremendous. Good job from Jalen tonight. And the defense was dominating.
Sweat. How about Sweat? He just tormented Mahomes. It was just, like Kyle says, six sacks against KC, unheard of. That was just really a big factor in the game. They were just able to rattle Mahomes, sack him, and
that Sweat, was how
he just tormented him.
Yeah, and that's 6 sacks without even using like pressure. That was
right.
6 sacks using the front four. And again, because for them, what they do is, the edges get at you. They're really, really fast, and you have to answer to Josh Sweat, like you said, Milton Wellens, like you said. You have to answer to Jalen Carter. You saw the one. Luckily he didn't even get the flag for it. It was like a bear slapping with his paw across the mug. He hit Patrick Mahomes, and then it was a tough day for those guys. But like I said, that defensive ends are nasty. Where just Steve Spags was coming down up blitz packages and still was coming up with the negative result from this Eagles team.
Yeah, the Eagles had a better. Their offensive line is dominant. They got everybody healthy. They needed 2 weeks off, and that's what they got. They got their center healthy. They got their guard healthy. And that was the difference. You cannot turn the ball over, period. You can't turn it over. Cooper DeJean on his birthday.
Pick six. Yeah, that pick six was
on his birthday. You can't have those mistakes whatsoever. And the Eagles did what the Eagles do. You take away the run, we're going to pass it. We're going to do short pass, intermediate. We're going to do, they just had all the answers. They got thoroughly outcoached over and over again.
Yeah, and this is, again, Andy Reid looking puzzled. That whole team from top to bottom on that side. You saw Patrick Mahomes looking rattled and shook up because he never seen a team like this before. Andy Reid, you saw the disappointment. Like Travis Kelce didn't want to be there. Like he looked like he just went here. Looked like he went to pack his bags and go home.
Well, and they also refused to make adjustments. They were so tight in their formations which you can't be. You have to be spread out. You have to spread those Eagles out. You can't be that tight. I mean, they didn't have time to do anything.
He's not getting down on one knee tonight. I can tell you that much.
No, and I think we can all, whether Eagles fans, Steelers fans, fans across the world, I think we can all be happy that I think we saw a minimum of Taylor Swift like 3 times. I think that was a huge plus.
Yeah.
Did you hear the boos were there too? That was pretty substantial.
Yes. We boo Santa, throws batteries at Santa.
This is a rabid fan base. But I will say, Newell's actually kind of, this is to kind of put like the details on it. Jake Elliott has been known to miss kicks all year round, all year, and actually in this Super Bowl he was on pace. So I mean, listen, I know like the kickers really doesn't get too much credit, but in this case, he needs to get some love because he's been off all year round, and he needed. So here goes Kyle saying, aside from the absolute bad offense play calling from the first drive, the refs didn't really cuddle to Mahomes. No, and that's a huge, and I thought for sure, after a couple of hits, they kind of let them, like Tom Brady said, let them play football a little bit.
I think they were affected by all the comments. I really do. They're human as well, so I think they really held the flags in. I think they did. I think they wanted to see, what it was like, and they missed some calls on both sides.
Well, in Media Row this week, I mean, there was a couple reporters that asked Goodell about it, and of course he denies it. But I mean, they flat out asked him, why is it that Kansas City gets all these calls? And he, I don't know what is.
Another question is this really the end? This could be the end of the Kansas City runs. I mean, they're older. They're gonna lose a tackle at least. They're gonna lose. I mean, Chris Jones. His knee's not healthy. Maybe he'll be healthy, but he's older. He's 33, 34.
That tight end doesn't look like he used to, Eddie.
Nope. He's going to be 36 next year. Does this end it all for them or what?
And how much longer is Andy Reid going to coach for? You know what I mean?
That's another.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you saw on the sidelines Patrick Mahomes crying and him being very upset and like Tom Brady kind of said through the broadcast and like now you got to start at all over again. You have like you just said that team's going to get chipped away and all that stuff. And really with both teams, how's it going to be? Because even the Eagles, like, you're going to lose Kelly Moore. What are they going to do? How are they going to replace it? But all sides are pointing up for Howie. I mean, he's kept this franchise in the conversations. If they're not in the Super Bowl, they're in the playoffs or they're in the hunt for a Super Bowl. So listen, on paper, this was supposed to be the 2 best teams, and clearly, like I said, the Eagles had something that the Kansas City Chiefs just never saw. I mean, as much as good as the Ravens and the Bills are, they just weren't on this level. And the Vic Fangio, like I said, needs a lot of credit. Just dialing up defensive plays, dropping these guys in his own coverages, and bring those Georgia Bulldogs to come eat. And Josh Sweat, Zach Baum with a huge interception. Cooper DeJean with a pick six.
It was beautiful.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes really looked, like I said, just out of stock. Like he didn't know how to come with an answer.
Yeah, Fangio, he's a guy that, I think he grew up pretty near Philadelphia, but he got his start in the '80s with the USFL with the Philadelphia Stars. So this guy has a long lineage of, of Philadelphia, sports and everything like that. And it's nice to see a guy that doesn't smile. That guy, I don't, never smile. You never see him smile ever. But
no,
he's probably smiling now. I'm guessing, So
but like I said, go ahead.
No, I'm just done.
No. I like I said, I thought, like I said, it was an overall good, play calling on both sides of the ball. I think Jalen really balled out tonight, and again, in a game where Saquon was ineffective, Jalen said, "Okay, I'm going to beat this team aerial," and he did. He got the reads that he wanted. Kansas City was giving him everything that he wanted, as far as the blitz packages, the one-on-one coverages, the wheel routes, however you want to do it. He just was in his zone, and again, if he deserves to be your Super Bowl MVP. If not, it should be Vic Fangio. One of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, because he did a good job spreading the ball.
I think it's Jalen for sure. I think Jalen stood
Yeah.
out.
I think he did too. Let me ask you guys this: what grade would you give Steve Spagnuolo tonight? I mean, I this is just kind of he just. It seems like they were just overly focused on shutting Saquon down and shutting that ground attack down, and kind of neglected everything else. Kind of was like, well, he's not going to beat us over the top.
Well, save those turnovers. I mean,
yeah.
Take away the turnovers, they're still good. I mean, they still win the game, but they're only at 26 points, which is respectable. But I give him an absolute a D minus. He did not. They didn't adjust that. I don't think they adjusted.
I was just to say they didn't adjust that in the second half, even. Really.
Yeah. I mean, that was the biggest thing.
Steve Spags had a look on his face like, after
he was not happy.
He was frustrated with the calls. Then he looked like he was just out of sorts. Like he looked like he didn't even have an answer. Like what do I need to do next? And I'm puzzled how to stop this Eagles team from scoring. And like I said, this Eagles team didn't take it lightly. They just kept on coming and coming and coming and ultimately, like I said, all the coaching staff of the Chiefs, everybody looked puzzled.
Yeah, Fangio, I agree. Mahomes was 8-0 against Fangio's defenses going into this game.
Yeah.
So he really made some adjustments and really
Billy, I'm just surprised they didn't make adjustments drive the drive, which they usually do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they made small adjustments. They just weren't effective. Their adjustments were to try to give Pat Mahomes better reads, and their defense was in that zone. There was no reads to be had. Sorry, Bill.
No, and how about Travis Kelce? He didn't catch a ball. He got two catches, and that was it. I mean, he was not in fact. You want to talk about
how about Hopkins in that drop? I mean, that's unlikely. I mean, you never see Deontay Hopkins.
Monster got him. But I mean, this, having watched this game, and we all watched it, and we all been watching football, played football, all that stuff. How in the world could the odds makers have made Kansas City a +1.5? Is what I want to know.
I don't know. I mean, they cost some money tonight.
How in the world did I pick them to win? Like what was it, 44 to 20? I think I said. What the hell was I thinking?
But that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's crazy because through this course, I mean, through the playoffs and in the postseason, really the Rams gave the Eagles their best fight. I mean, after that, I mean, listen, this wasn't even a game. This wasn't even, it was a rout. Horrible.
It was a rout. It was an absolute rout.
I know. I mean, this was like I said, by halftime. Here goes some halftime. Your first half numbers. I mean,
23 yards.
First half, 23 yards. I mean, for
Kansas City.
Here goes Kansas City. I mean, terrible. He got sacked 3 times. Patrick Mahomes got sacked 3 times. 6 completions for only 33 yards. Again, 6 sacks that he faced. I mean, overall, I mean, terrible. I mean, Kareem Hunt wasn't even an X factor. Nothing.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we talk about Cooper DeJean in that pick 6. It was great, but how about that interception by Bond? I mean, God, he laid out, and I mean that was really
That was more. I mean, Mahomes did not follow through.
He did get hit, yeah.
But
I mean, I'm talking, Ed. It was a hell. He laid out to catch that ball
entirely. It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
full stretch.
And then AJ Brown connects with AJ Brown. I mean, you're what, 14-yard line? I mean, it was just, it was just
unstoppable at that point.
So Kyle says Kansas City.
I don't think Ed had his meds tonight, Pat.
No, it's all right.
I don't think he took his meds tonight.
He said,
I know it's coming on the show.
Well,
Kevin,
it must be having a reverse effect then, I guess.
No, I haven't got started yet. You got to wait.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Kyle
taking a little earlier.
Kyle says Kansas City came down and just shutting down Barkley. That was only their only adjustment. And I kind of agree with that. I mean, other than trying to dial some blitzes, Jalen Hurts was not in effect at all.
Well, it almost was like a one-dimensional, like, hey, we're going to focus on just shutting down this running attack. Screw everything else. Like, we're not worried about it. And they were just like, Kellen Moore was just like, okay, we got something for you.
Fair. I mean, Hurts hasn't produced back-to-back games, for a while. I mean, it's not as if he's very consistent. And they hadn't used him.
He was
they've been running
consistent
all
tonight.
year.
He was consistent tonight, Ed.
He was last week, and he was against the Redskins, and he was against the Packers, and he was against tonight. He was okay against L.A. They ran the ball mostly in that game, but they just took a bet. They took a bet that they're going to running the game. I mean, they ran the ball. It's the number one running offense in the NFL.
Yeah, we kept saying, "Oh, they're gonna try to put this in Hurts's hands. They're gonna try to make him throw down the field." Guess what? They did that, and he did a hell of a job, man. He did a hell of a job.
Yeah, MVP job. I mean, it was. Yeah, they did what they needed to do. I mean,
plus he ran. I mean, plus he was effective running. I mean, how many? How about the toe taps along the sideline? I mean, he was just. He played an amazing game tonight. That guy just, I was glad.
He made the right decisions. That's what he did.
He did.
Yeah. He made one pick that was off the back of his heel. But again, that's not him. He throws again. He like you guys were just saying, he makes all the right reads, all the right decisions, ball security, keeping it in from making those picks. And again, this was easy. This was kind of an easy one for him tonight. I mean, not just off the score. I mean, again, the defense stood up. They made some plays, but for him to, like you said, he made plays with his legs. He made plays off, just getting the reads that he wanted, find the guys he wanted. The guys were right. Some guys were left wide open, and like I said, when you make a defensive coordinator look absolutely, one of the best, mind you, in Steven Spags, look absolutely puzzled, you did your job. You did your job.
Yeah, they did way too much one-on-one coverage. I thought if you're going to blitz, they're going to go to zone. Way too much one-on-one coverage. They don't have corners to cover especially A.J. Brown. He's too big. There's just no way. So what did Tyler say? Tyler Dunback? Best spot, Lilo and Stitch.
He said best spot was Lilo and Stitch. I guess because of the commercial. I guess he's getting excited for, I guess the movie. All right. Be sure to send your condolences to your local Giants fans. Yeah. Hey, listen. I listen. My wife's cousin is a nice Giants fan, and I always tell him. I always say thank you for Saquon. Thank you. And like you said, Kenny Pickett was he's going to get a ring tonight and all that stuff. And again, not only does the Eagles move on from their former quarterback, but I thought at some just to beat him on the biggest stage, he had no partake in it. It's like, damn, Carson, sucks, buddy. It sucks for you. I feel bad. I know, buddy. You're on a losing end. What can I tell you? Losing end of your career, but. Yeah, so again, the Eagles win tonight pretty handily. If I have to give the grades to this team overall, I'm going to give it an A+. Just shutting down Patrick Mahomes, making plays on the biggest stage, not getting choked up. And here in local Philadelphia sports and local media, they've asked everyone on this team, "Are you guys excited? Are you guys going to get?" And they all said, "We have a job to do." And they left it at that. We have a job to do. We're not looking to go from Broad Street and partying on Bourbon Street. We have a job to do. Just have a job to do. And that's been their mindset. They didn't come down here and they get tanked up on Bourbon Street. They just came down with a mindset that they just to do their job. And they did it handily. And they were, like I said, laser focused tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to fallout because Kansas City's going to have to make some major changes on that offensive line because that offensive line is subpar. They had to bump Tooney out to left tackle, and he was no match for Sweat. He was no match for Nolan Smith. He was no match for Brandon Graham when he was there. Nothing. When they stunted, he couldn't stop Jordan Davis. He couldn't stop Jalen Carter. I mean, it was just, they're in a good groove right now. I think they lose Brandon Graham. You're going to lose 93. He's a free agent because you can't afford him. And you'll probably lose Bond because somebody's going to offer Bond a boatload of cash.
Yeah, well, listen, this is where Howie and Mr. Jeff Lure is going to have to start spending some cash if they want to keep these guys around because, like you just said, Ed, a lot of guys are going to be walking out. And another credit I got to give to it for the whole course of the year, as that offensive line. That offensive line is just they're bullies. You're not getting past Jordan Mailata. You're not getting past Lane Johnson. Now, to me, I wonder if he's going to go off in the sunset with another second Super Bowl ring. He's been with this team for forever. He's been around the same time as Jason Kelsey. So I wonder if he's going to walk out to the sunset with the second ring. But I mean, those and to me, this is the next man mentality, because when somebody went down, someone was able to step up and make it look like nothing happened. So again, you got to give that offensive line a lot of credit for giving Jalen time in the pocket to make his plays and do whatever he needed to do, create holes for Saquon and all that stuff.
It's just hard to get through that humanity. I mean, you put Mekhi Becton, who's almost 400 pounds, you put him at guard. I mean, it's very tough when you're stunning to try to get around that. I mean, and you could see it all night long. He held his own. A couple of times he got beat by Chris Jones, but Jones wasn't healthy, which is, they still would have won even if he was healthy. I just think that they did it the right way. I mean, Becton's a unrestricted free agent. Not sure what you do with him, because he was a left tackle and now he's a guard. And I don't know what they keep and what they prioritize, because I think you only have about 28, 29 million in cap.
Right. So this team's going to be limited. And look, it's like I said, knock on wood. Now we're the champs. Next year it's going to suck because now there's going to be a lot of night games I'm going to have to stay up for. But that's going with it. So again, I'll go with you guys. A little change of pace. Will and Trace, how far do you think the Steelers now are from the Birds as far as Super
light
Bowl?
years? Can you out of the solar system? We're talking probably in the Andromeda galaxy at this point in time. So.
Wow,
44 billion light years.
Not even in the Milky Way. Not even in the Milky Way.
No, not even the Milky Way.
Here's a question for the Steelers faithful. Do you think that Justin Fields can become Jalen Hurts if he practices and just focuses on his pass and
Well, let me get my harmonica.
No.
That's the best chance they have right now.
No.
Oh man, it's
I mean, well, I shouldn't say no, but I mean, it's
pretty close to no.
Yeah, we're pretty much there. Yeah,
and being in the NFC Beast, it just shows you the best division in all of football for time and memoriam is the NFC East. Let's just go for it. Let's just talk about it. 8 Super Bowls the Cowboys have been to. Giants have been to.
He definitely didn't take his meds, Will.
Washington has been to 5. Philly's been to 5. Dallas won 5. New York won 4. Washington won 3. And the Philadelphia Eagles have now won 2. So,
yeah. Hey, listen. Look, we're 2 out of 4 as for Super Bowls. I'm happy with that. And again, you gotta enjoy the runs for what they have. And I'm very excited. Again, I don't know what's going to happen next year, but again, I'm not too worried because this Howie Roseman, it doesn't take him long to shake up this team. Like last year, again, they fell on their face with Brian Johnson as the play caller, and you look, he quickly interchangeable, got somebody else in the experience, and he's been a Cowboys play caller for so many years, and I've had a buddy of mine who's a Cowboys fan. He goes, Pat, this guy chokes in the playoffs. Be careful. I'm letting you know this now. And no, he's like I said, now he's not even going to leave New Orleans. He's going to stay there because he's got a head coaching job that's going to be right at his doorstep. So it's going to be interesting what he does out there too.
And how much is? Is it? Here you go. Now you got another coordinator coming in. Probably a new system. I'm guessing. Different. That Jalen's going to have to learn. I mean, it's unfortunate when you win.
When you lose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're when you win, everybody wants your assistance, right? Kellen Moore, like I said, I think what he did tonight just solidifies how good he is, and it was the play calling I thought was great. I thought he he just
and really, Kellen Moore's not the defensive coordinator. He's the offensive coordinator. He never
Right.
had a defense like this. Dallas defense sucked.
yeah.
Overrated.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
they shut the run game down, and he was just like, okay, we've got more, we got this down. We can handle this, and it was great. I thought it's a shame you guys are going to lose him, but you know, I don't know. I don't know if
one
I
thing
would.
with how he's got
Go
ahead.
One thing with Howie, one thing with Howie and one thing with Howie and Nick. I mean, they got an eye for talent. They know their stuff. So, and the way that Nick Sirianni or Howie Roseman wheels and deals through all season, it's amazing. Like the way that, like again, how did you manage to bring in Saquon? Like how did you manage and bring in? And not just bring in, but they get the best out of these guys. Like again, the Giants thought, "Oh, Saquon's cooked; he's done. We don't need him. Here, have him."
Exactly.
Idiots.
Well, I think everybody thought that. Everybody was like, "Oh, they're getting this guy. Like lots of luck with him."
Look at him. The Jets didn't want him. They got rid of him.
Yeah.
They said he couldn't play. He was a bust, and all they did was move him one position. And he turned out to be, very good at the guard position.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge for them.
So anyway, listen, player game. I think we talked enough about the MVP of the game. We're going to go. I think we all can say. I'll know what. Well, we're all going to say Jalen. Jalen just put on a clinic tonight. I think we can all agree that Jalen was an absolute beast out there again, spreading the ball around, making the right reads, making the right plays, and torturing this Kansas City Chiefs defense. And like I said, I think what made my night is not seeing Taylor Swift, seeing her boyfriend crying, seeing Patrick Mahomes crying, because they listen. I think we watched now 2 Super Bowls straight where we had to watch that Love Show and all those other things.
And I mean, you just saw that in the crowd. I mean, when they came out, they got booed. When the Eagles come out, they was just erupted in cheers. I mean, it's kind of just I don't know, kind of set the tone there. It was just like, I was rooting for the Eagles. I'm like, there's no way I'm rooting for KC in this. But I mean, it was just it was great.
Yeah, it's like I said, people are still out here walking the streets. I'm hearing a bunch of conversations. People are still out here celebrating. Fireworks are still going on. People are thrilled.
Hope they grease those poles.
Well, another pole will be greased, but that's for another topic. Oh,
geez. Boy, I walked into that one, huh?
Yeah. So, but
it's great. Wednesday?
Maybe too soon, huh?
No, it's crazy because we are expecting a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We are expecting a snowstorm here. Yeah. So I'm looking at Valentine's that they're probably going to be at the parade here, but I don't know. I mean,
look out, Santa.
I could be wrong. Look out, Santa. I mean, listen, if you're hanging around, you're probably going to get beaten with a snowball.
It's done.
Yeah, it's funny because like when the first Super Bowl run we had, my kids were a lot smaller, but now they're 8, 12 into that bracket, like my middle kids. So now they're like, Dad, can we go to a parade? I said, yes, you are going to be playing hooky, and I will be taking you.
Well, yeah.
So
they're going to cancel school. Come on.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, if they cancel school, I'm canceling my life. So I cannot wait. I mean, like I said, another parade, and I wonder if the Eagles will make another statue like they did for Nick Sirianni and or Nick Foles and Doug Peterson. So that's going to be interesting to see if because Jalen definitely deserves one, or at least take one this year.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say something too. Sirianni had no idea he was getting that Gatorade bath. Man, was he shocked. They did that perfectly. He was shocked.
Hey, you know what? One thing I got to give credit to Nick Sirianni. Again, less is more. So he admitted that he had some in the last year and all that stuff. He had his hands in the cookie jar as far as the play calling. He just let Kellen Moore do his job. He had that look on his face tonight, like, I'm coming here for revenge, Andy. I'm coming here to win the Super Bowl, Andy. I'm taking this one. And he had that look of determination, and I was happy to see that. And again, listen, to them, this was another day at the beach. We're not taking our foot off the gas pedal. We're going to come in there. We're going to rock the Giant. This is going to be a team that the Chiefs never saw coming on both sides of that ball.
It worked,
and it worked.
There's that old saying: when you try to chase two rabbits, both escape. And that's what the coach here in Pittsburgh. He doesn't like to delegate. To Ed's point, he wants his hand in everything. Nick Sirianni, smart guy, good coach, and he knows that hey, you got to delegate. You got to trust your assistants. That's why he has a coaching tree. That's why he has a coaching tree.
Thank you, William. It's much easier this time than it was last time to understand.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
He's got 3 times the coaching tree. Freaking Tom.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, it's Nick Sirianni is just, he's a great guy. He's a great guy, great coach.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell you what, you guys got a good one. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Eagles handle business right, at New Orleans again. Going from Bourbon Street to Broad Street. Again, people will be waiting like pigeons on a fence, waiting for them to get off that airplane so they can holler and cheer and all that stuff. The Eagles are your now 2025 Super Bowl champions of 51, Super Bowl 51. Very exciting stuff. Love to see what this Birds team did, and the celebrations are never going to stop here until after the parade. So, guys, listen, we're going to get ready to wrap up the show here. So, for me, Ed, what's your final takeaway of this game and so forth?
I thought the Eagles just dominated in every facet of the game, to include special teams. He had to kick 2 extra kicks because of penalties, and he still made them. So they got credit. He got credit for a couple. Kansas City was not prepared whatsoever. They said you give Andy Reid 2 weeks, he's going to beat anybody. Andy Reid was not ready at all. The odds makers were not ready. Everyone was surprised, but Philly did what Philly does. You take away my arm, I'm going to use my other arm. Take away my leg, I'm going to use my other leg. But they thoroughly outcoached Kansas City, which I never thought would happen. Spags was blind from the moment it started. I thought here's when I knew the Eagles were going to win is when they lost the toss. I turned to my wife. I said, if Kansas City wins this toss, they're losing the game. She's like, what are you talking about? I go, let's watch. They won it. They were so happy that they had that 10-minute stretch they talk about, 5 in the first half, 5 in the second half. They were so happy about that. And they really didn't even think about playing at all. I mean, they did whatever they wanted. Eagles could do whatever they wanted. It was unbelievable. But
absolutely. Yeah, Trace, what's your final takeaway of this game?
I just thought that they took what the other team gave them. They took the one-on-one matchups. They exposed the open areas and the weaknesses in the defense, and their defense sat in a zone and just waited for Mahomes to make mistakes and chased him. I thought it was a brilliant game plan. I really did.
Same. I thought so as well. Will, what do you got, bud?
Well, I mean, I think Kyle, he makes a great point. They thought they just needed to shut down Barkley, and they weren't worried about anything else. They figured that everything else is manageable. As long as we shut down him, we're going to win this game, and that wasn't the case. Jalen Hurts had one of his best games of his career, and that defense, Sweat, Hunt, all those guys were in Mahomes' face all night, and you had the turnovers, and that they just they were able to get it done and shocked. It's like a heavyweight boxing match. They just came out and they punched the title holder right in the mouth repeatedly, and they were able to down goes Frazier. So, but
no, again, I think for me, my final takeaway to piggyback off of you, Will. I just think that, Kansas City was looking at this like this was going to be a vacation. They've seen this Eagles team before. Nothing scares them. They escaped the teeth of a tough Buffalo Bills team, and they're probably thinking they're nothing more than that. They're going to walk out here. They probably thought they were going to, ultimately in that locker room, they probably thought they were going to get some calls, and which it didn't. It turned out the Eagles were getting some decent calls. And I think that. Honestly, I just think that Eagles were more hungry for this one. The Kansas City only looked at just to break to become the first team in history to win a three-peat. The Eagles won the Super Bowl since 22. They won. Listen, they should technically. They probably thought we should have had that one. We had that team on the ropes and we failed. This time we're going to put our foot to the throttle and not take our foots off. We're going to keep our foots rolling our neck. So I just think the Birds want this one more and. As much as Andy wanted it and all that stuff, they just, like you guys are all saying, they just didn't have an answer for either way, and it just showed they got just outclassed in every possession of the game. Real fast before we get out of here, Kyle saying Casey thought they just needed to shut down Barkley. Turned out they had a quarterback too. Yeah, listen, they did. They took away Saquon's running game, but they didn't take anything away from Jalen's running game. Jalen was running up the middle, but just punched him in the belly, kept that team off balance, and did whatever he needed to do. So, guys, listen, for me and now the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, guys, check these guys out here Wednesdays. Spitball Fire, you can check them here on the Stream Punk Entertainment. For Will, Ed, Tracy, guys, they're like us Birds fans. They keep it real. You just heard them. They take shots at their head coach. It doesn't matter. They are good football guys. Wednesday nights, right? To be exact.
Wednesday nights, 8 p.m.
Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Guys, make sure you guys give them a follow. The Pittsburgh Sports Desk. Go. If you're the first time checking out these guys and you want to listen more about them, see what's going on across on the other end of Pennsylvania, give my guys here a follow. So my guys, Will, Ed, Tracy, guys, have a good night. And again, your Super Bowl champions are your Philadelphia Eagles. I know I'm happy. I know the guy below me ain't, but that's okay. And that's all that matters. So,
guys, these guys are happy. To your would that be your left? I guess. Yeah, it would be your left.
Yeah. So, guys, have a great night. Guys, go Birds, and we'll catch you later.
See